Good morning, YouTube. We're just waiting on Instagram and Facebook just to click in. You're going to be a bit wobbly for a few minutes just while Deirdre gets the camera set up. We always log into the YouTube first. You're probably all shaking and whatever. So go and get yourselves a cup of tea there while we're waiting. We'll be another 1-2 minutes before we start. And we have 2 different types of door wreaths planned for our demonstrations this morning. Plus we're going to have lots of giveaways, and we will remember to have a giveaway on YouTube, so make sure you keep commenting on YouTube. Let us know that you're watching, and otherwise we forget about you. This is what happens if you're not actually commenting, we forget you're watching. So how are we getting there, Deirdre?
Yeah,
you ready?
we're going now on
Going live now on Facebook and Instagram. So good morning everybody, big happy Friday, and we're into the first Friday, I think it is, in November. How is everybody keeping?
You're not live on Facebook.
I'm not
Yes,
live on
it's
Facebook. Okay,
internet is a bit slow.
So your Instagram, YouTube, you're going to have to listen to a repeat again. Sorry, and a big apologies. So how are you going? Maybe just switch off the Wi-Fi.
I did. I took you off the Wi-Fi, yeah.
Okay.
And try it again.
Don't worry. Keep with us there. Go and get yourselves a cup of tea while you're waiting, because we've a big action-packed morning planned for you. We have 2 demonstrations, 2 different types of door wreaths for you. And again, stuff that you can copy at home, absolutely no problem. So have the cup of tea ready, at least you can sit down and enjoy it. And we're going to have a couple of giveaways. So make sure that you're interacting there and let us know who's watching. So while we're waiting on, we're logged in, are we? Okay, so we're going to have to do a repeat. Good morning, Facebook. Instagram and YouTube is ahead of you, as they got logged in a little bit earlier than this morning. But big welcome to everybody. And what we need now is we need to build up the audience. So while you're watching there, everybody click share. So if everybody here is watching, click share. That'll help build up the audience. It takes you 2 seconds to do it. Literally, it doesn't affect your viewing or anything. So while you're doing that, let's do a little bit of a check-in around the world, okay? So who have we got watching? Where are you watching in from? And obviously we want the weather forecast. So here in Dublin, it's a fabulous morning in Dublin. Little bit of a nip out there, you know what I mean, but nothing drastic, like you'd get away with a light jacket. Sun is shining, there's no rain, it's definitely not shite weather in Dublin today. It's an absolutely fabulous morning. The sky is as blue as anything, do you know that way? And please God, it's going to keep up for the weekend. It'll definitely make November a little bit shorter for us. So, Deirdre, anybody watching yet? Are you all clicking share?
Chicken in, yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so make sure that you let us know where you're watching from. We are going to have a couple of giveaways today, and our plan is to do 2 types of autumnal door wreaths with you. So to make the autumnal door wreath, the first thing you need is a roll of reel wire, and you need a wire ring. And both of these items can be bought in your local flower shop. Now, I do understand most flower shops now are doing click and collect. So your best thing to do is give the flower shop a ring or drop them an email, and then ask them what would be the best time to call them and collect these, and they will have it ready for you. If we do have anybody from flower shops watching, and garden centres, you know the way, that sell these items, please feel free to post your link there in the comments below. Deirdre will give you a shout out, you know that way. Make sure you put in your telephone number or your email address, and then if we do have anybody watching from your area, they can pop down to you and pick up the frames off you. Now, in previous tutorials, I have shown you how to make one of these wire rings on a coat hanger. Haven't got time today, but you go onto the YouTube channel, Case Flower School, and you'll watch it. And also, instead of using the roll of reel wire, you can use a ball of twine, like a ball of hand-tied twine would work out perfect. So again, any of the flower shops that are watching, if you don't have the reel wire for sale, you can sell them a roll of the hand-tied twine. It does the exact same job. If there's anybody watching and you're not from, or there isn't a flower shop near you and you are finding it difficult to purchase these items, go on to our website, flowerschoolisland.com. We have what's called a floral sundries page. So this is where you can buy items, whether it be posy dishes, florist scissors, blocks of foam, reel wire, wire rings, whatever it might be, and we can post them out to you. You can't call here to collect, but we can post them out to you. So what's the story, Deirdre?
Yes, we've busy page on Facebook. Anyway, we have it seems to be really good weather everywhere, cold but chilly.
Yeah.
In Hertfordshire in the UK, we have Linda.
Hiya,
We've
Linda.
Fiona in from Waterford.
Hiya,
We've
Fiona.
Sheds Flowers is in from Birmingham. We've Victoria from Manchester. Gosh, have we any Irish people watching us at all? Okay, we've Sinead from Laois.
Hiya, Janette.
Hilary from Wexford. We have Ella from Sierra Leone.
Very good. A big welcome.
Phyllis is in from Belfast, Yvonne is in from Scotland, and Suzanne is in from Cork. That's a few of them there.
So
Over on
Instagram,
we have everything you need, your DIY from Autumn Flowers, Cassia Flowers. So on Instagram, CASIA Flowers.
What area are you in, Cassia? Let us know. And again, when you get a chance, pop over to our Facebook later on, even when the live is over, and put the advertisement or the link to your Facebook page or your website. Advertise it. Like, that's one thing about us. We do like to support anybody that's in the flower trade, so feel free to post any of your links. And even over on our Flowery Fun group, which again is not all our students who follow us on Flowery Fun group, but there's over, I think, is it 2,000 followers on that page?
Yeah.
There's loads anyway. So again, like, feel free to advertise like your flower shop or what you're selling or your garden centre. You're more than welcome.
New Seasons Flowers has the DIY kits also.
In Minute, is that Mary?
No, from Kent. Chantel from Kent.
Okay, hi Chantel, how are you? Again, same thing. Put up your links there.
And I saw somebody else there. Oh, Anan Flowers by Joan. So again, I've no location on that, but she's in as well.
Let us know where you're watching from, and she knows the story. Feel free, because you know the way some pages don't like you advertising on their pages. We don't mind. Like, the more the merrier. So you can see there, I've just attached on the roll of reel wire onto my wire ring to get started. Now, different weeks I've done the bases. I've used the straw. So you've all seen the straw from Sligo or the straw from the pet shops. I've also done it with the lavender stems, and I've also done it with the Q-press branches.
Cassia Flowers is in Tramore.
Oh, how you do? Big welcome, Cassie. I think I do follow you on Instagram. I always give you a little like, whatever. And again, if you ever want anything shared on Instagram, if you tag us in small down the very end, it'll pop up on my page and I'll share you.
And Claire is on from the Lavender Room in County Kerry.
Oh, how you, Claire? How are you? And the same thing applies to yourself. So today I'm going to do our base in moss. Now, moss is awkward to get. It's not like you can just go to the wholesalers and buy moss, and even the flower shops probably won't have it for sale. Garden centres might. There's like a shortage of moss around Ireland. It could be different in the UK, so let us know. That's because in Ireland you need a licence to collect moss. Now, we often say you could go out with a little plastic bag, which obviously somebody must have went with a plastic bag. And the moss must have just fell into the plastic bag, because obviously it's illegal to collect moss. So I don't know who,
well, this
bag of moss in.
This moss has been in my garden for a long time. It actually has a sunny southeast moss.
Okay, so all the way from Wexford.
All the way.
Has a country accent, has a cultured accent. So we're going to use this moss, and yes, okay, when it's there for a while, it doesn't look as nice, you know the way, but it still holds in the moisture. And if you want a base to hold in the moisture, to keep the material that little bit fresher, it is a good idea to use the moss base. But I'm going to show you another one later on, okay? So just bear with me. So what I'm doing, I'm going to get a start, okay? So hopefully anybody that's new, that's watching there, click share. You're only allowed to stay here on the freebie group, okay, if you click share. And we will know how many is watching and how many has shared. So you'll be kicked off if you don't share.
And for those on Instagram, you can share it when it goes to IGTV.
Brilliant. So you get your fresh moss, okay, and you bunch it together in your hand. And if you've watched me before, I often say like a big fat sausage, okay? Squash it together in your hand. You rest it down onto the base, and then you get the reel wire, and you wrap the reel wire around 2 or 3 times. And you leave it about 2 centimetre, 2 centimetres gap in between each kind of like wrap. And that's how it gets attached, you see, onto the frame. Don't worry about it not being perfectly even. It's fine. Wait till you see in a little while. It'll all balance out. So again, I'm grabbing a chunk of moss. I'm squeezing it together like a big fat sausage. I'm resting it onto the base, and then around and around and around that I go. Now, if there is some flower shops watching there and you have got moss for sale, or garden centres that have moss for sale, please advertise it, you know, that way, because again, like, you could organise to post out a bag of moss to any of the viewers that are watching there.
I just see Boutique Blooms is on. That's Rebecca. She's over the north side of Dublin.
Hi, Rebecca. So are you selling moss, and are you selling the wire frames and the roll of reel wire? Or again, like, if any of our followers here want to kind of contact you, like, put up your link there and let them know. Like, feel free to advertise. And even, like, you know, I mean, if it's stuff that you're selling, a lot of the people who follow us here on the page, like, just love watching the stuff being made, but are not in the humour of actually making it themselves. They would prefer to buy it already made. So I know a lot of flower shops are selling door wreaths and autumnal wreaths this time of the year, and there's a huge audience out there that want to buy them ready-made. I'm kind of a bit like that, you know, with hanging baskets and window boxes and so on. I absolutely love them, but don't ask me to make it myself, you know, that way. I would much rather go to a flower shop or a garden centre and buy a ready-made one. So I'm a bit lazy that way, and I can completely understand viewers here watching, and they love watching how I make them, but they're not in the humour of actually doing it themselves.
So no, we who else have we got? We have, well, the weather seems to be fairly good all over. We have, it's Jean is in from sunny Essex, and we have Margaret is in from Waterford, Annette is in from Ballinasloe.
Big welcome everybody, and like as I said, click share or you'll be kicked off from watching this course for free. We're always glad we don't kick anybody off, but we would really appreciate you click share. So I'm gone around the first time there with the moss, and that's what it looks like for the first time. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around a second time now with the real wire. And the second time going around with the real wire, I'm pulling it extra tight. Now if you watch the little trick how I do this, first of all, I don't unravel the real wire. Like, I keep my wire fairly short, okay? And I pull it to my chest and I throw it into the middle. I lift it up, I grab the roll, I pull it tight, throw it into the middle, lift up the frame, pull it tight, throw it into the middle. And that's the sort of technique, you see the way, and I'm turning the ring as I do this, where a lot of you kind of try to hold this up in the air. Leave it flat on the table. And if you're doing a couple of these, this is really dirty work, to be honest, okay? Do it outside, you know what I mean, on maybe a garden table that you could just kind of like sweep it down afterwards. So here I am going around the second time with the moss. Now you could do these a lot earlier. We must have this moss about 6 months now.
I must easily, yeah.
Ages. So I could have moss.
It was before lockdown.
Was before lockdown, so you're on 7 or 8 months now at this
Yep.
stage. Okay, it's not as nice looking as when it first got foraged, you know that way. So when it first came up from Wexford on its little holiday to County Dublin, it looked absolutely beautiful. But I suppose the pandemic has affected everybody here. We're all looking a little bit worse for wear. No hairdressers, no nails, no beauty therapists, you know that way. So just at this stage, I think my eyebrows are down around my knees at this stage. But you're listening, we're on our way around, we're all alive, we're all healthy and safe. You know what I mean? And isn't that the most important thing? So when you get back around to where you think you've started, and to be honest, I've lost count of where I thought I started, so I think I'm about here, okay?
If anybody has any questions, if you just want to post them, work away. We'll call them out.
End, cut off the wire that's left, stick it back down into the frame, and there is your moss frame. And as I said, we could have made all these moss frames a couple of months ago, because you can see the moss actually lasts, you know the way. And if you use the twine, because what happens is the real wire will go rusty if you do it too far in advance, but the twine doesn't, you know the way. And the best way to store these, I often say, on a sweeping brush handle between 2 raised platforms, you know the way, and that sort of effect there, you know the way, and that you're letting the air circulate around them. Let them dry out. Moss is a natural sponge, and it will take water up a second time.
We have Margaret Parker's on from County Westport,
Hi, Margaret Parker.
or County Mayo.
How are you getting on? So Margaret Parker is on one of our online tutorials at the moment on the module.
Actually, a lot of our NOTS students are on watching, yeah.
Welcome to all our NOTS students that are watching here today. And this will be something that's not covered on your online program, but it's something that you'll absolutely be able to do at home yourself, no problem.
Somebody Lucia wants to know, what size frame did you think was best to use for fresh wreaths?
That was a 12-inch frame that I used, but you'll see now in a second, Lucia, that I'm actually going to make the wreath bigger than 12 inches. So what I have here is I have 20 bunches of greenery, and this greenery is all foraged greenery, okay? Some of it came from my house. The eucalyptus came from my house.
That's all. The rest of it's all mine.
Okay. And the rest of it, she has ceanothus, we have euonymus, and we have the black Pedusporum, and that all came from Deirdre's garden. So what you need is a couple of florist wires, but you could use bits of the real wire. You could cut bits off this and do the exact same thing, or bits of the hand-tied twine, or whatever twine you're using to make these bunches.
Olivia Mulholland, who's on the knots course, says she's in knots trying to tie the bows.
I know, the bows will make you or break you, but you know what? I have never had a student who didn't master the bows. And that's why in your kit, I sent you out a full roll of it. There's 100 yards. You can make 20 of them massive big bows out of it. And if all else fails, buy another roll of ribbon off me and you keep going. You'll get it eventually. And I will be back in your bloom room Monday morning doing doing another demonstration with you.
And just there's a good few on there on the Christmas course, and they want to know, is mossing covered on the Christmas course?
Yes, so mossing is covered on the Christmas program. It'll be nearer the end of it. So the beginning part is where I have ready-made bases, and then as you kind of go in more into the program, I have then about making your bases using the moss and the straw and the leylandia, etc. So this is a bit of the ceanothus. You know the way a lot of people find ceanothus a hard name to remember. And I know when we were kind of younger, and our mum, who is Kay, she's actually here, but she's not coming on the camera today. We have her working in the corner. She's like a little Jack Horner here.
Will we give her a big quick?
No, we won't, because she'll go mad if we video her. She hasn't got her hair done. But when we couldn't remember what the name of this foliage was, and she used to say, see the notice on the wall. See a notice on the wall. See a notice, see a notice. So that's how you remember the name of that foliage. And it's a great one for drying out, you know, that way if you're using it in your autumnal wreaths. Then we have like our black Pedusporum, or it's kind of a burgundy wine colour, tom-tom. So a little tom-tom set in the corner. And a little bit of euonymus. Think of anonymous, euonymus. So a little bit of euonymus there stuck in, and there's only one little bit of eucalyptus stuck in. So you can see there just random little bunches of foliage. Get yourself a bit of wire, a bit of the real wire, a bit of hand-tied twine. I'm using like 22 or 20 gauge, this is a 20 gauge wire. I'm making a little hairpin bend, I'm wrapping around the end, and I'm going to cut the wire off. So what I've made is 20 bunches. So obviously, it's not boring for you to have to sit here and watch me make up 20 bunches. I have that all done in advance. So remember, when you kind of rewind this back afterwards, and you say, God, that only took a couple of minutes for it to do, I had all the prep work done.
Somebody just asked, do we sell the real wire on our website?
I'm nearly sure it's on the Floral Sundries page,
it?
and if it's not, drop us an email and we can add it on, info@flowerschoolireland.com. So, presuming you made up your moss base maybe yesterday or the day before, okay, and you now want to attach the wire again, what you do with the real wire, hold it with your thumb in one spot, go around that same spot about 3 times, so there's a second time, there's our third time, and that's how you can attach it back again. If it was the ball of twine, you could just tie a double knot around it. Now the girl who asked about the size base, so this was a 12-inch base. If you want to make the wreath 12 inches, what you could do is you could just place the greenery directly onto the base, you see like that, and you could make it, you know, a 12-inch base. But the thing is, it doesn't cost, anyway, this is costing me nothing because it's all foraged out of our own gardens here at home. But if you want to make it a little bit bigger, what you can do is if you place the foliage onto the base on a 45-degree angle, so can you see the way it's sticking out on an angle? And I'll just show you from the back there, I don't know how many centimetres, but we're probably on about 15 centimetres coming out past that frame. So your frame being 30 centimetres, and me coming out 12, 15 centimetres on both sides, obviously, when it's finished, you can see the way you can make it much larger. So, whenever the real wire is attached, that's where you place your bunch of foliage on an angle, and you wrap the real wire around where I have it wired together, like the little bunch. Now, when it's wired on, like so, what you need to do is move your real wire across, you know that way, and again, I would do this flat on the table, okay? And then you get your second bunch, and you're slightly overlapping, and again, you're wrapping the real wire around that 2 or 3 times to attach it, okay, as so. See how it's attached on? But again, the trick is wrap the real wire around once more and come a little bit away from it. If you don't do that, what happens is every time you add on a bunch, it completely overlaps the bunch that you previously put on. So what I need to do is kind of like get as much coverage out of this as possible. So here I am, there's my third bunch. And then you just keep yourself working your way around. And you can make this as chunky or as skinny as you want, depending on how much foliage you actually foraged out your own garden. And when I'm putting the bunches on, sometimes I have one side looking up like there's no back or front, you know that way. And obviously you could make the bunches in all the one type of foliage if you preferred, and that would be beautiful as well. But it is a good idea to use foliage that's going to last. And most of the winter foliage at the moment has been hardened up, you know that way. So it will last, you know that way, and it'll dry out basically on the base.
Louisa asked, if you can't get moss, what could you use instead?
Okay, so Louisa, I've done other demonstrations over here on the class where we have used the moss, or sorry, instead of the moss, the straw is what I meant to say, straw. And we have used the straw from the pet shop. You know the straw that you buy? Deirdre has chickens, so she's always buying bags of straw, because obviously here in Dublin there's nowhere really to get straw. And it's only $5.50 for the bag of straw in the pet shop, and you get about 5 or 6 wreath frames out of it. And if you follow us over on YouTube, Kay's Flower School, there is a video on YouTube of us actually, if you want to call it, mossing up the frame, but using the straw. Another idea is using the Q-press bases, and my second wreath that I'm going to do to this morning is it's going to be made on a Q-press base. And again, over on YouTube, I do have a video of how to actually do the Q-press base. But this is what this is looking like so far. And just to show you there from the back, do you see the way I'm coming out past the frame? So it is making it that little bit larger. Now I know last week I did one of these, but I used completely different material last week. So last week I used some of the ivy, like the wild ivy out of the garden, which is a great one for lasting, and also the silver Sussex and eucalyptus. So go back to last week's video and have a look at that.
Nicola says she thinks Mr. Price sells bags of straw.
Brilliant, actually, and if anybody is in Mr. Price, and if they do sell the bags of straw, will you take a photograph of it and post it here on the page for me? It'd be brilliant. Because I have seen there lately, some of the students have seen like the tins of spray, and they were in deals. I could have the price wrong now, 150, 220, I can't remember. Where last week I was advertising Lidl and Aldi. We don't get paid by Lidl or Aldi, by the way, but you know what I mean, they were only $3.50. But one of the girls had up there yesterday, she got them in deals for, I don't know whether she said 120.
185 was there? I can't remember, yeah.
Anyways, for nothing. It was cheaper than Aldi anyway. So again, if you do see any bargains around in the different shops like Deals or IKEA or whatever, feel free, post them on the page, and even Lidl or Aldi. It's actually got that the students are now posting the special offers on the penguin bars. So if you've ever done a course here with us here at Case Blair School, you know that we're mad into the penguin bars. When our students used to come to us here as classroom-based classes, we always gave them a penguin bar, you know, that way with their cup of tea. So then when we went online, to kind of keep the same sort of crack kind of going, what we did was we added in a penguin bar when we were making up their kits. So I don't know who's more delighted, the kids or the adults, when the box arrives with the penguin bar. Now sometimes we send out wagon wheel bars because we're mad about the wagon wheels here. And most people kind of say to us, God, I haven't had a penguin bar in ages, haven't had a wagon wheel in ages. So one of the girls yesterday posted Dunnes Stores had 21 penguin bars for, I can't remember, it was a ridiculously cheap price. Now I'm just coming near the end here, so I'm just going to add in my second last bunch. So that was a good guide. I actually said it takes 20 bunches, but I had 21 bunches made up, and I am going to use the 21st bunch, the last bunch. So to get your last one in, what you kind of have to do is tuck the end of that in under the beginning of the very first one that you put on. And when you're wrapping the wire around, it's don't kind of flatten it down the way I'm doing it now. You kind of have to wiggle it in between the foliage so that you don't kind of like make it too messy. It'll always be a little bit untidy in that spot, but I'll probably add the bow into that spot afterwards.
Roshi wants to know, if you want a very large ring, where would you buy a large ring or wire?
The wire ring only goes up to 14 inches in the wholesaler, so your local flower shop, that's the only size they'll be able to sell you. Now, if there's anybody watching from the country, but by the way, you can get this in Dublin as well. I don't have a sample near me, but I will get some because I do have it up in our storeroom, and I will show it to you. It's called bull wire. Now, correct me anybody that's watching from the country because they know more about this. But I think it's the wire that, you know, when they put up the wooden fences in the fields and they put like the wire, whether it's the electric wire or not, I'm not sure. So again, correct me because I haven't got a clue, right? But it's the wire that basically goes between the fences, okay? Now they sell it in building providers here in Dublin. And I would presume in the country they sell it in the co-ops or the country co-ops. And again, if you know, tag it underneath and to let me know. But it's called bull wire. So whether it's for keeping cows in or bulls in, I'm not sure. And it's thicker than coat-hanger wire. So what you do is you cut the length of the coat-hanger wire or the bull wire that you want to make the, you know, the circumference circle of the size of the wreath that you want. And you need pliers to do this. When you cut the wire, okay, at either end of it, if you could imagine my finger bent over in a hook, and at the other end bent over in a hook, and you got the two bits of bull wire and they kind of like interlocked inside each other, and you squeeze them together. Now I don't have the wire frame here in front of me now, but you remember there was an outside circle and there was an inside circle. So with the bull wire, if you made the two circles that you got the little space in between, and then using the real wire, you can go around it, you know, like in a bit of a zigzag, and you can make the frame at any size that you want.
They're all loving it in just the foliage.
Yeah, it is nice in just the foliage. So I'm at the end here, so you just cut off the wire that's left over, and you stick it into your moss frame, and that's what it looks like at the back, you know the way, and that's what it looks like at the front. So I'm going to kind of decorate this up autumnally, right? But I'm going to show you another base, okay, and I will come back to this second base in a few minutes, okay? But this is a base, and it's completely done in all eucalyptus, okay? And I'll show you the back of it. It's done on what we call, look at the dirt in my hands, it's done on what we call a Leylande base or a Q-press base. And you can buy these in from the flower shops, okay? So flower shops have these ready for sale, do you know that way? And if any of the flower shops are watching and they're interested to know where they buy them wholesale, just drop me a message, because you do have to buy them in bulk. You obviously can't buy them in ones. But like, you could have done this space here yourself in just all complete eucalyptus, especially if you had a lot of eucalyptus growing yourself. I'm going to decorate that one in a little while, okay?
Avril just wants to know, did you let the moss dry out to get rid of the soil before using it?
There was no soil in it, you know that way. So whenever this was foraged, okay, robbed, as I
think it was
here,
taken off a wall.
It just kind of like lifts up. Like, I know myself, like, you know, when my dad used to bring us up the Dublin mountains, and that was completely illegal to do, by the way. But he'd bring us up. The moss used to just lift off the ground like carpet. You were nearly, do you ever see the carpet shops, the way they roll up a roll of carpet? Well, you could nearly get the moss and you could start rolling it. Now, it'd be full of spiders, but what we did was we just left it out in the shed or the garage, and all the spiders ran away, basically, you know that way, and you go to use it, it'll be absolutely fine. Now, about 2-3 weeks ago, I did an arrangement, and I did it in a black pumpkin. Some of you might be watching. And I had tall stems of these Chinese, oh sorry, not Chinese lanterns, they look like Chinese lanterns, of these little pumpkins. Well, what we did here this morning, well, Mum did it for us, Mrs. K is here today, was she kind of cut up all the little pumpkins that was on the long stem, and she basically wired the end of them. So all you're kind of doing is, I'll just unravel this one that you can see it. So she cut up all these little pumpkins, but these could be Chinese lanterns. And people have Chinese lanterns growing in their garden at the moment, or your neighbour might have them growing. Or go in to a local flower shop and they'll sell the Chinese lanterns to you. So cut them up individually, bunch them together like that, and get like a 20 gauge wire. You make what we call the hairpin bend, and you wrap it around the end of it. So what I have here is just a selection of, there's a few little bobbly bits in it as well. So I was using up, recycling or upcycling the arrangement that was made in the pumpkin, because the pumpkin was ready to be fit to be thrown in the bin now it is, and I didn't want to throw out the decorations. And that's the great thing about anything I'm showing you here, is that you can reuse it again. And even when this wreath is dead, pull all the decorations out, you can reuse them on a different wreath or put them by for next year.
Mandy has a question. She says she's a ton of dried hydrangeas. Send
them down to me. Send them down to me. I actually did a demonstration last Friday. Mandy,
it's on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, so it's on YouTube. It is on how to do the hydrangea door wreath using the dried out hydrangeas. And the hydrangeas I used weren't completely dried out. I actually still have it here, the one I did last week, and already it has dried out even more since last week. So there's a video on the YouTube channel under Kay's Flower School, or if you're on the Facebook page, Mandy, click videos at the top of the Kay's Flower School Facebook page, and you'll see all the videos that we've done over the past couple of weeks. Now in this wreath, I want to add in some lotus heads. So I don't want to make it kind of Christmassy looking, do you know that way? And yeah, I'm trying to kind of, we don't want to start Christmas too soon, because there's still time like to be putting the autumnal wreaths on your door. So using the lotus pods, and you can buy these in your local flower shop, and by the way, you can then reuse them at Christmas time. And if you bought them sprays of Deals or Lidl or Aldi, spray them gold at Christmas time or silver. They're absolutely amazing. So all you need is the 20 gauge wires, and you'll buy them in your local flower shop or garden centre. You stick the wire through one side until it comes out through the other. You bend it over, because everybody looks at them and thinks that they're real hard, and they're saying, how will I wire them? They're real easy to wire, they are. And basically, you wrap the long piece of wire around the short piece of wire, basically twist them together, and there it's on the long wire. So I have a couple of these wired up already. I think I have about 6 or 7 of them. So I'll start with them first. So how you do it is you bring the wreath over the edge of the table, right? You get the wire, you stick it down into the frame. So it's actually gone through the greenery and it's gone through the moss. And you kind of pull it down as far into the base as you want. So that's what it looks like from the front. Now at the side here, I don't know, can they see that wire coming through the other side?
Yeah, I can see it now, yeah.
So just behind my hand, that's the wire after coming through the other side. And all I do at the back here is I make like a U-bend with the wire, and I stick it back into the moss. And there it is secure, and there's your lotus head in place. Now when I'm doing it, I don't keep lifting it up off the table. So what I do is I bring it over the edge of the table like I've just showed you there. I kind of like have it overlapping, so when I'm sticking the wire down, this hand here feels it coming through the other side. It's pulling it, it's making a U-bend, and it's sticking it back. Then I spin it around on the table and I stick the next one in. And this is where I'm saying how I can build up the speed. The decorating part, you see, is probably the easy part. The preparation work was making all them little bunches of greenery, and wiring up all the lotus heads. So if you wired them all up, it literally took, that didn't even take 60 seconds, did it, Deirdre, to stick them couple of lotus pods into it, okay? And that's what it looks like with the lotus pods. And it's lovely, you could just leave it like that. But you know us, we always like to add a bit extra. So because I have these kind of like little velour-y pumpkins, which look a bit more like Chinese lanterns, okay? And we have these wired the same way. I'm now going to start kind of like adding these, sometimes to the outside and sometimes to the inside. So I'll add a few of them in, and then I'll hold it up and let you see kind of what I've done. And again, if you're timing me, you'll see this has only taken a couple of seconds as well to stick it in, because it's all down to having the preparation work. Where if you have to start wiring all these now first, it's going to take ages. And when you're finished, this is what it's looking like so far. And when you're finished with this wreath on the door, take all the decoration out, straighten up the wire. The wire will kind of go a little bit rusty after being down to the moss. But once it dries out, it's kind of fine. Pack them in a plastic bag, and then maybe another time, if you want to reuse these items again, you'll be able to do it.
Aneshka wants to know that she missed the start of the Christmas programme.
Okay.
She still wants to do it. She knows it's too late.
Why did she miss the beginning of the Christmas programme? I've been advertising it for weeks and weeks and weeks.
So she
wants. You could have got the 25% discount off it by going through the knots, you know, that way. And the thing is, I'm always saying to you, there's a limited number of the funding, and people don't believe me, and then they go along and suddenly the funding is gone. Well, what you can do, Aneshka, because you're not the only one, by the way, there's loads of people in the exact same position. So what we're going to do, you see, at the moment, we can't join you in at the moment because the bloom rooms are up and going, and they're all kind of in there. I'll just show you what this looks like so far. They're all kind of in the bloom room. They're interacting with each other. They know everybody. I know what's going on, and they're probably a good halfway into the programme. And to join somebody now at this stage, you know, that way, it's kind of like bringing an outsider into the tea party, you know, that way. And it's hard for you to kind of settle down. So what we've decided to do, in about 2 weeks' time, is we're going to make the online programme for sale as a standalone. Now that means that there's no bloom room, okay? But to be honest, like, a lot of the questions that you will have will actually be answered as part of the programme. And if there was something that you were stuck at, you could drop us an email. So we will be offering the Christmas programme as a standalone online programme. So there's no bloom room for the 3 weeks, you know.
There's no kit.
There's no kit kind of sent out. We will reduce the price of it, you know. But the main difference is you're not getting the day-to-day support that you would be getting when you're in the bloom room. Where every day in the bloom room, we're posting videos, we're answering the questions, and that's what people are actually paying the little extra for. Plus next week, they're all getting a kit posted out to them.
Brenda wants to know, how long will that last?
So, well, obviously the decorations are going to last for ages, Brenda, but you'd get about 3 to 4 weeks out of it. Now, at 4 weeks, it'll be dried out to the last. But in 3 weeks' time, you're ready to put your Christmas one on the door. So I'm planning that you make up this one now, but you're actually going to plan on making a brand new one for Christmas. And we'll be doing some Christmas designs kind of later on. So you've seen it so far there with our little velvety pumpkins. And now what I have is a couple of the orange slices. And I'm using the orange slices to kind of like pick up the shades of it. So again, you can see it's very autumnal. And if there is anybody watching from America, how's the voting going if you are? But like, forgetting about the voting, like Thanksgiving, like a lot of people would be into like having a Thanksgiving wreath kind of like for decorating their door, and this would be just lovely. But again, you can pick the colours and shades that suit yourself. I do understand some of you will be watching and you say, oh God, I'm not really into the orange or whatever. There's no big deal, and you can decorate it in whatever colours or materials that you want to use.
Olivia wants to know, do we sell the pumpkins? No.
So the pumpkin, the velvety ones, no. They're actually just, as I said, they're left over from last week's, or 2 weeks ago when I did the pumpkin. I done a black pumpkin, and I had them velvety ones standing up real high.
But you know who has those pumpkins is, I know definitely Joanna Caffrey has them in Avoca.
So Joanna Caffrey in Avoca, and if anybody else is watching and knows of them for sale somewhere else, you know, that way, just tag underneath there. So contact, Joanna has a couple of shops she has. We know the Avoca one because we're always out that way. But haven't been out there in ages. Actually.
No.
But
past the 5 kilometres.
Yeah. So again, if somebody has the address of her other Avoca shop or her other shops, maybe they could post it there.
I think she has a pop-up in Ballsbridge somewhere.
So there you go, that's what it's looking like so far with just our pumpkins,
That's fabulous.
our orange slices and our lotus pots. Now what I'm going to do now is maybe add a bow to it. So keeping again with our kind of all natural theme, we have some of the Hessian ribbon. Now the bows can be a little bit awkward, so kind of bear with me. So to make the bow, again I've demonstrated this a couple of times, it's like what we call the collar bow, that you're wrapping the scarf, you know, that way around your neck. But when you're making the physical bow, you can't wrap it around your own neck, so it's kind of like pretend. So there we are, we've wrapped it around the neck, and it's crossed under the chin, and you bring the back part of the neck into the front, and basically you can squash it in, you see, really tight, and put a wire around it. But if you want to make a double version of this bow, you can come back up again with a third loop, and back down again with a fourth loop. And there you can see that's how I've done a double version of it, and I'm now just going to cut across there at the end there just to get rid of it. So then I turn it sideways, and between that finger that has no nail varnish on it and that finger there that's all snapped to bits, okay, I'm going to squash it in there to see nice and tight, kind of pinch it in real tight. And using one of them 20 gauge wires, I'm wrapping the wire around it, short piece of wire and a long piece of wire. I'm squashing it together, I'm wrapping one wire around the other, and that's how you get the bow effect. And then you can go back and you can put your fingers, your dirty fingers and thumbs in between them, and you can stretch out the loops as much or as little as you want. And then the two tail pieces, I like to kind of like fold them over and do a little cut up into it there. This is something my students last night were struggling with on their online program, is to cut that little V at the end. That's a bit buckety, by the way, but sure, listen, it'll do grand. And you can decide then, do you want the bow at the bottom or at the top?
Somebody just, their name has gone up, but they want to know, how do you dry the oranges, or can you dry them?
You
But
can.
Life at Number 2 had a thing up.
Yeah, so if you're over on Instagram, follow Life at Number 2. Paul Kinsley, his name is. He normally tunes in. He must be working today for change. Because normally he does be in work, but he normally pops in to say hello. And he has great tutorials on, like, say, drying out all the lemon slices and the orange slices yourself. They're really, really easy to do there. But I just find we use so many of them here at the school. It's easier for us just to kind of like buy them in. So we buy them in from the wholesalers, but what you can do is you could buy them from your local flower shop. But if Lidl or Aldi were having a special on the slices of the whole oranges and lemons, slice them all up, and basically a dry room or dry oven will dry them out for you. So
That's
there's
gorgeous.
our little raffia bow at the end, and the very last thing then that you need is something for hanging it on the door. So I'm just going to get another length of ribbon here, and I'm going to kind of like catch it around the ring. And I always try, when I'm catching it around the ring, I try and hide it, you know what I mean, so I'm not flattening the greenery, okay? I think I'm a little bit off there. So get the two pieces of ribbon together. I'm going to tie a double knot. This ribbon is very thick, so it's a bit awkward to tie a double knot, so I'll do my best anyway here. I'm a bit all over the place, okay? Squash it in, bring it in here, the dirt in my hands, and I still have to do another.
There'll be no virus on them hands
There'll be
anyway.
no virus on these hands, I tell you, it wouldn't live on them. Pull that really tight. I'm going to cut off the spare bit just over the knot, okay? And then going to kind of like pull the ribbon back, that the knot is kind of hidden behind the moss frame so you don't see it. And then I have my lovely piece of raffia then to hang on your knockers, as we just say here in Dublin. And there it is, ready to hang on the door. And you can put as much or as little decoration, as some people said earlier on, they loved it when I just had the foliage on it. So are you happy enough with that
Yeah,
one?
absolutely.
And you all click and share, because I'm not going to do a second one unless you're all click and share.
And we might have a little giveaway with the second one.
Absolutely. We're going to have a giveaway now, Deirdre, while I'm cleaning the spot up here.
Okay, so our giveaway then is, let me see, there was, what will be the question be, Janette?
What would the question be?
What type
What's
of
the name of
base?
this foliage?
Yes.
There's an easy one there for you now. What's the name of this foliage? So this base here. What? Who's working here today? Yeah, there's two questions for you. Who's working in the corner? The voice from the wilderness there in the corner. We have our wrapping ribbon there, like little Tom Tom sitting in the corner. So who's sitting in the corner wrapping the ribbon? Underneath, the 20th answer is going to win an autumnal online course.
Yep.
Okay. And what type of foliage have I got in this wreath here? I did mention it earlier on, and you're also going to win an autumnal course.
Wayne from Backley's Blooms is just after tuning in. He, I'd say, would be selling a lot of that stuff as well.
Absolutely. So again, off Wayne, you could buy the complete eucalyptus base off him. Do you know that way? And again, you could bring it home and you could do the decoration. Because I understand, and I would be one of them, is a lot of people kind of hate doing the kind of the dirty work, but they like to do the nice nice part of it. So imagine being able to go into a flower shop, buy the actual base, you know, that way, and I'm sure you could order it off him in whatever selection of foliage that you wanted, and then you could buy all your own decorations and you could decorate them up yourself. So I have a couple of like the cinnamon sticks. These came on a wire already. I have showed you other weeks where the cinnamon sticks were like just kind of like loose and I made the packets up myself. So all I'm doing, the wire's not long enough, so I'm bending it over, and then I'm adding the 20 gauge wire, the hairpin bend and the wrap around. So I have a couple of these kind of like wired up. I also have a couple of these oranges, okay, they're dried out oranges. Again, you'll probably buy these in your local flower shop. The easiest way to wire them is there's like little cracks on them. Rest the wire in between the cracks with a little bit of wire sticking out. Wrap the long piece of wire around it until it goes through the other crack on the opposite side. And there where the two pieces of wire meet each other, the short and the long, give it one or two twists with your fingers. But the idea is that you still have a long piece of wire for placing down into the base. So again, I have a lot of these kind of like dried oranges here ready. And then I have the slices of oranges, okay? And there's just one or two lotus heads left over from the last one. So this one is going to be more what I would call a scented dory. The smell of this is just going to be amazing. Because first of all, have you answered the question before I say the name of the foliage?
Yeah.
Okay, the eucalyptus, that was the answer by the way, and Mrs. K is sitting in the corner, that's the answer. So Deirdre will go through them, she'll find the 20 to answer. Adjudicator's answer, there's no arguing by the way, it's whatever answer she comes up with, because we haven't got time to be going through them all, okay? You're both going to win an autumnal course and she'll get to
And Instagram or YouTube, we'll have to give YouTube one as
yeah,
well.
So definitely on YouTube we're going to give it away, we're going to give it away on Instagram, and we're going to give it away on Facebook. So listen, you have loads of options.
Well, Jesus, there's no message says, oh, here we go, okay, we have a winner because
We
she's
have
the
a winner
first
on
one. Yeah.
YouTube. She's the first one, okay? And I hope you're going to click a like, give us the thumbs up on YouTube. So you're a winner. What's her name?
Lolly.
Lolly. So Lolly there for joining us on YouTube. You've just won an autumnal course, okay? Make sure that you send us your email us and we'll give you all the details. We'll get you signed up.
Okay, and on Facebook, our winner is Rita Keenan. So you're the winner on Facebook.
So you can contact us, send us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com.
And on Instagram, it's Amy Sham.
So Amy,
Sham
you're a winner.
2001.
So send us on an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and we'll show you how to sign up.
I might just
on
remember
that
the
programme.
last, yeah.
Oh yeah. So the last 4 or 5 weeks while we've been on, just to show you here, I'm just wiring in the oranges into the eucalyptus wreath. And the last couple of weeks, as you know, we have been raising funds for Look Good, Feel Better. We're not looking for any money today. We didn't say that we won't turn it away. But we have actually raised, what's it, €5,769. Isn't that just amazing? And actually, I got a gorgeous little card here this morning. Where did I put the card? Okay. And I'm sure she won't mind. There was €20 in it. So now it's going to be up to €5,789, okay? And I have to read this out because I thought this was just gorgeous. Hi girls, hope you don't mind me putting a few euros into the envelope for the Look Good, Feel Better, that she's not good with computers. Thank you so much. Love watching you. You make my day. Keep up the great work. Your dad is fab. You know what I mean? Now, Mum is there kind of a little bit jealous because nobody told her that she's fab. Okay. And huge thanks to Helen. And the card itself is gorgeous. Laugh that you're not afraid of wrinkles. You know what I mean? So just thought it was a gorgeous card. And huge thanks to Helen for that. There's a lot of people have sent us on money and cards.
Okay, Suzanne Deanan says, do you know how many eucalyptus would make up a bunch?
120 pieces of eucalyptus to make this particular wreath, okay? So 120 pieces, not 120 bunches, okay? 120 pieces. So, you know, like whatever length you want to cut them, do you know that way? So
It's probably the same thing. So 120 pieces is sort of 6 stems in a bunch of...
Yeah, I put 20 bunches into that, so if I was to put, I'm not great at the maths.
Well, half of 120 is 60.
Yeah.
So...
I'll leave it to you. You're working out there for me. I'm lost. I am.
Yeah, we about 6 or 8 stems per bunch,
and
make 20 bunches.
And
Yeah.
work out for you. So that's just a couple of them oranges, just randomly set. They're not very even, and a bit more over here and very little here, but just randomly. So I'm talking away and I'm trying to watch everything that's going on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to the slices of oranges and add the slices in between this as well. Now, as I said, this is going to be a scented dough wreath. So the scent of the eucalyptus is just going to be absolutely fabulous. Especially that, what's that variety there?
The Gloucester.
Yeah, that has just an amazing scent of it. And these oranges, even here at the school like that, you know, you're really getting that kind of like citrus scent. I don't have lemons, it's all oranges that I have. But you could organise and get some lemon slices yourself. And you see the hard oranges, they have them in lines as well. So again, if you're in the flower shop...
There's actually a couple of limes there if you wanted to put them in.
There is a couple of limes. I'll have a root there.
Yeah. Citrus and spice.
Citrus and spice, exactly. That would be the theme. We've done this last year as well, we have. And it's always been very successful. And everybody, like, it's very popular. Everybody loves it. And you know where this wreath is great? Anybody that has a porchway. So I'd have, you know, where you go in your main, like in our house, the weather glazed door, and then you're into the little porch. To have this hanging on your main wooden hole door, do you know the way? The scent in the porchway when it's closed is just unbelievable. It's amazing. Now, it'd be gorgeous on your front hall door as well, do you know that way? But I'm just saying, to actually get the advantage of the scent is to have it in a porchway. It would be fabulous. So there, that's what it looks like so far with just our hard oranges, our dried oranges, and our orange slices. So now I have our cinnamon sticks, and this is going to give it a little touch of spice kind of going through it. And again, if you have any other scented material, you know that way, you could add them in as well. This would be a gorgeous present to give to someone, and I know I said it last week there, with the lockdown, and thank God people are staying in, and the numbers are dropping, thank God. If you were trying to visit somebody or as a little present or whatever, but you obviously didn't want to go into their house, it's just to call to them and to leave this on their doorstep, you know that way.
Or just hang it on their knockers.
Just hang it on their knockers, exactly. Hang it on their knockers, and then
run away.
When they come out, then they'd see it, and I think, you know, I mean, I'd love somebody to come and hang this on my knockers. It'd cover the dirty knockers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to get out and clean the whole door. So again, I have a few extra ones, so I'm just kind of like randomly adding them here and there. I think the best thing about these wreaths is to be very kind of casual about it. Don't overthink it. You know, the way trying to get all the things even. As you can see, especially when I put in them dried oranges, they were far from even. So this is what it's looking like now with the cinnamon sticks. Now, because there was 2 of the lotus pods left over from the last one, rather than just leaving them on the table, I'm just going to add them in. There'll be no scent off them, you know that way. But I'm now adding them in because I have them there on the table. And I'm just going to go to my box of tricks there. So I'll go off camera for a second and see can I find them lemon stem limes. I actually can find them. Okay, so what I did find was some apple slices. Okay, so I can't find the limes, but I do have a bag of them there, just can't find them. So with the apple slices, these are dried out apple slices. Now when you take them out of the bag, like they're real hard, but what'll happen is, once the kind of air gets at them, they do kind of soften, but they still last for ages, but they don't look as nice after about 3 or 4 weeks. But remember, this swag is to hang on your door at the moment. If you just pass us another couple of 20
Rachel says, oh my God, if somebody left something like that on my knockers, I'd be delighted.
So I'm just getting them to get me a couple more 20 gauge wires so that I can wire up a couple more of the apples, and I'm just going to add them through it. So this is going to be real fruity, citrus, spicy.
They're 22s, when
22s will probably do. Do you know that sort of way? Have you got the 20s? There you go, because they're stronger. A 20 gauge wire is better because it's a stronger wire, you know the way. And to get through the, especially because this one is on a Q-press base or a Leyland base instead of the moss. Now, where the advantage of the moss is the moss will keep your material fresh and damp, so it kind of like lasts for ages, where the Q-press kind of dries it out. But with eucalyptus is great for drying out. So that's why by having this one on the Leyland base is better, because I don't want to keep it moist, you know that way. I want it to dry out. And as I said, the scent on it will stay for ages. This will still look well in 6 or 8 weeks, to be honest, because the eucalyptus looks really well dried. But I'd be hoping anyway at that stage you'll have all be getting onto your Christmas wreaths, and you'll be all making your own Christmas wreath, or as I said, you'll go to your local florist, you'll buy in the base, which they'll sell you the base, and you can then get your decorations, whether you're going to buy the decorations in your local flower shop, but also check out the walk around shops. They're great for the decorations as well. I think I have a mixture of 22 gauge wires in that bundle there, which they'll do fine. They're going through no bother at all. So I'm just sliding them down. And just for anybody that's late joining, I did show at the very beginning how exactly I insert these wires, and what I'm doing to the wires underneath, because in case anybody thinks that underneath, can't find that wire where it's coming through, in case anybody thinks underneath I'm just sticking the wires through, I'm not. I'm actually hooking them and sticking them back up into the base for security. So there's a couple of, and again, because everything is wired, you can move them around, everything is going to be nice and secure. So there's a couple of little apple slices in it. And I think for a bow, we'll probably stick to the raffia or the hessian kind of again. So we'll do that bow a second time, just for anybody that was struggling with it. So I'll do it this direction. I done it the other direction the last time.
Ursula, she must have just joined in. She wants to know, is the eucalyptus directly on the wire or on top of moss?
It's on top of a Q-Press Leylande base, Ursula. So when we're finished this and it goes up live, go back and watch it from the beginning, because I actually show you how to make the bases and I explain it, because this is the second wreath that I've done already. So I've done one already. Anything else?
No, that's all. They're all loving it. They're, very impressed.
Are you all click and share? How many shares are we up at, Deirdre?
No, they're a bit slow now with the shares this morning.
There should be about 100 shares at this stage. What are we at?
I don't know.
Okay, girls, start sharing. Click share, get it out there. There's no point in me coming on doing these classes if we're not getting the share. Now, I know I've been on the past few weeks and we've been doing it to raise funds, but listen, the charity work is done, so now we want to be advertising Case Flower School. Because after Christmas, we have all our commercial professional floristry courses starting again. And we have all our dates up on the website. So make sure you go to the website, flowerschoolireland.com. Scroll the buttons until you see the professional floristry courses, and then you'll be able to read up the syllabus. And after Christmas, we're also going to have the funding through NOTS, which is the National Organic Training Skill Nets. And they will pay up to 25% towards the price of your course, presuming you're living in Ireland and you're working, employed or self-employed in Ireland. They will pay 25%, which is a great saving.
Louise said, if you're living outside Ireland, can you still do the courses?
You can. We have loads of overseas, Louise. So, like just recently, and even on our Christmas programme at the moment, we have 2 students from New Zealand. We have one from Canada. We have an Italian. We have loads of UK, loads of Scottish, loads of Northern Ireland.
And on the next course, with somebody from the Seychelles.
Yeah, we're having somebody from the Seychelles, out kind of that direction. There, she's going to be on our January course. So being overseas is no problem. We can post the kit to you. It will take a little bit longer, so you have to give us plenty of notice that you're booking, because we allow 3 to 4 weeks to post out all the sundries to you. We can't organise the fresh flower delivery to New Zealand or the Caribbean or anywhere like that. But we give you a discount off the price of the course. We give you a list of the materials, and we do help you source them yourself in the country that you happen to be in. But the actual online course, it's just that when I come on and I say good morning, it might be good evening for you. So that's our all eucalyptus scented wreath, as we call it, kind of like citrus and spice. There's a fabulous scent off this one with the eucalyptus. And this is the one I did earlier on for anybody that was late joining us. And this one is on a moss base. So there it is on the moss base, where that one there is on the Q-Press or the Leylande base. So hope you enjoyed them tutorials. Did you give away all the prizes, Deirdre?
Yep.
Okay. I'd love to know, which one do you prefer the best? You know, which is your most favourite? If anybody has any questions at all about making them, post them in the comments below. If you were late joining, I probably answered your question at the beginning, so go back and have a listen to it. And please, anybody that is joining us later on in the day, please click share and let's get that video
Just
out
hold
there.
up the wreaths again.
We're going to be out there. We're going to be back online next Friday morning, Deirdre.
Yep.
Next Friday morning, we're going to do a live again. Now, I think we've had enough of door wreaths, so aren't we going to do next Friday?
Oh,
Back
would be
to
surprised.
flare
Yeah, I think
arranging.
we'll go back to
it's
flare
gonna be a
arranging, yeah.
Surprise means we haven't got an effing clue.
We'll
what
be
we're
nearly,
going to do.
no, we've another few weeks of lockdown, yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, we've loads of weeks. We're only on week 2 of lockdown. So we've 4
Yeah.
more weeks. 2nd of December, before we're all allowed out to party. So we've loads more to show
Olivia
you.
said it's like trying to pick your favourite child.
You always have your favourite child. So I hope you enjoyed that. Huge thanks to everybody for joining us. Listen, if there's anything that we can do for you, and if there is any flower shops watching, feel free to advertise. Times are tough for everybody. So listen, let's support your local flower shop, ring them up, buy your bases off them, buy your decorations off them, and listen, Post your photographs.
And most flower shops are offering click and collect.
Yeah, so like most flower shops are open. There's none of them closed. They're all open, but it's all online, click and collect. And that's why I'm saying to them to post their details here so people can contact them. So listen, we're going to go now. It's time for a cup of tea. Love yous and leave yous, and thanks a million for joining us. Bye bye. See yous.